I'd like to call tonight's regular council meeting to order. Recommendation that the agenda for the regular council meeting of January 14th, 2019 be adopted as presented, presented with the correction to the clerical error as noted, and that the agenda item 6B be tabled to the next regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Randhawa, seconded by Councillor Adey. All those in favor? Opposed? Moved. 3A, recommendations that the minutes of the special regular council meeting of December 12th, 2018 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Adey, seconded by Councillor Cunningham. All those in favor? Any opposed? Moved. Reports and recommendations. 6A, report from the Manager of Transportation and Economic Development in regards to the NDIT grant application, Business Facade 2019. Who's anyone? Okay.
I can speak to that, Councillor. The city has participated in the Business Facade Improvement Program offered by Northern Development Initiative Trust for many years. Under the program, business owners improving the facade of their property can receive a refund of a portion of these costs. Those funds are provided each year by Northern Development Initiative Trust to a municipality by way of a grant. The city would like to continue offering this program through the Economic Development Office and therefore needs a council resolution to apply for the grant of up to $20,000.
So the recommendation is that Mayor and Council supports this application to the Northern Development Initiative Trust for the City of Prince Rupert for a grant of up to $20,000 for the Business Facade Improvement Program. Moved by Councillor Randhawa, seconded by Councillor Cunningham. All those in favor? Any opposed? Moved. 6B, report from the Director of Recreation and Community Services in regards to the Recreation and Culture, Energy Efficiency, and Risk Management Upgrades Project. Oh, sorry, that was the one I was supposed to take out of there. Sorry, 6C, report from the Manager of Communications in regards to Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, funding application for Rupert's Landing.
Sure.
Anyone want to?
So the ISIP infrastructure program is for rural communities. It covers up to 90% of costs. So this application would be to initiate the Rupert's Landing project of relocating our airport ferry terminal to a roll-on, roll-off ferry ramp access at near where Quinetza Station is, including a breakwater asset.
Is there a mover? Councillor Cunningham, seconder. Councillor Adey, any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Randhawa.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So how much be the grant we asking for?
So the grant is for 12.6 million, so that based on current estimates, and the city's portion of that would be 1.26 million, so that's 10%.
I'll just add to that. I think this would be a great project for the city of Prince Rupert to have a new revitalized waterfront at Quinetza. I think a lot of people have always been waiting for that, and once again, we hope that we are successful in another grant application. So now I ask we vote on it. All in favor? Any opposed? Moved. And the next is reports, questions, and inquiries. So as acting mayor, I will do a presentation about what's going on with our city water. Right now, I just wanted to speak to, there's a few people in the audience, not a lot. I was expecting more pitchforks. But what I'd like to just make a comment to you is if you feel that you want to speak about this, unfortunately, tonight's meeting does not have a committee of the whole. Our second meeting of every month is a committee of the whole meeting. If you would request time to make a presentation at the next meeting, please tell our staff at the end of this meeting, and we will put in a time for you at our committee of the whole meeting to put in a presentation if you feel the need to do that. We also are willing to stand around and answer any questions that you may have after this meeting. If there's something that is something you'd like to have an answer for right away, but this is not a committee of the whole meeting, which is normally the second meeting of every month. And now I'm going to do a presentation, and I just wanted to have a few points about what is going on with our water and what we have done in the last 4 years to move it forward. Here is a picture showing our current, what we have now. So normally our water is taken from the Woodworth watershed, which has been doing since the 80s. And Schwatlands now is where we are currently pumping from. And the reason for this is because we have been working on the pipe and the area leading from Woodworth down to the Schwatlands pump station. So our water supply is a 100-year-old dam, plus 100 plus years, and is definitely in time for renewal. So our primary water source, Woodworth, gravity fed. Our chlorination is done at the Schwatlands pump station, which is also the location of our secondary supply. Raw water is then treated and fed between two underwater crossings in Fern Passage, where it is fed to the Frederick Street pump station, to Montreal Circle, then to residences and businesses. We are able to pump 10 million gallons a day. We are not currently doing that. We are a lot less than that. Just a little bit of background where we're at. 2015, we secured a $4.4 million grant for phase 1, which is the replacement and burial of the water line to the dam and access road. There's been people bringing up whether they feel that we did this in the right order. Well, the old way of doing this was crossing the water, getting there on a boat, getting in a truck, driving part way up a road, getting on a quad, driving up part way a road, and then walking 2 kilometers through the bush to get to the dam. So it is important for us to have a water pipe that is buried in the ground, not possible to get damaged through slides, and that is the reason why we started at that end, and also to give us access to the dam, which phase 1 of the waterworks project is done now, and now we are in spring of 2017, we have awarded $7 million in funding for phase 2 for the replacement and the initiated design. This fall, we gave out the contract for phase 2 of the dam construction, and it was awarded to Eiffage. August of 2018, we applied for a grant to do our phase 3 of our water project, which includes a new submarine line, barge access point, and water treatment plant. Phase 3 includes a new submarine line that goes under Fern Passage, a barge access point, and water treatment plant. If successful, we will be on the hook for $7 million of this $30 million project. Impacts to the water quality. Construction on primary water source at Woodworth has affected this. We're currently pumping from our secondary source at Schwatlands during construction. Schwatlands is at a lower level than usual, more prone to runoff. In 1980, this was the city's primary water source and is not as good as Woodworth. Woodworth has no creeks leading into it. The landscape doesn't allow much for wildlife to stay around the area. It is much higher up the mountain. And right now, our crypto in Giarda has not historically been a recorded issue in the past. Water treatment. Currently, we rely on chlorination. Chlorination is ineffective against small parasites, but it does take care of bacterial contamination. If the funding is achieved for the final phase of $30 million, that will remove tint and color, and it will also provide more barriers against bacteria and parasites. Why didn't we address this sooner? I think that we have addressed this. As of 2014, when the majority of this council came in, our priority has been two things. One, to generate more money, and we've done this through Watson Island. And two, to secure a long-term water source that is reliable and good and clean for our community. We also drink the same water. This has been a focus for us. I mean, it may be not something that you hear much about, but as what I've explained, we have already done one phase. We've already given the contract for phase 2, and we've already put in for a grant application for phase 3. We have had staff working on all sorts of these grants over the years, and they have done nothing but spectacular work getting us these grants and doing all the hard work that it takes to get them. So hopefully we are successful in the next one. Water treatment had not been noted a concern from Prince Rupert from Northern Health in the past. And in 1999, we actually were told that we have some of the best and most desirable water in the province. The boil water notice on December 14th, immediately following confirmation of this, as a precautionary measure, Northern Health told us to put in a boil water. So there has been absolutely no confirmed cases of these related to this water supply as of today for Crypto and Giardia. This has also been confirmed through a test that was done in our sewer systems. So when you normally have an outbreak of something along these lines, the sewer system can be tested to see essentially what comes down the sewer pipe, can be tested to know if there was an outbreak. These tests have also come in negative, so there is no outbreak as far as our sewer is concerned from the water. The tests have been completed twice weekly and have been sent to multiple labs in Vancouver and Medicine Hat, and the notice must remain in effect until multiple clear results at the direction of Northern Health. This is not something that we get to decide. This is under Northern Health's. What to do? What are we doing to address it? Short-term treatment options. We've been doing boat patrols along the perimeter just to check for potential sources of contaminants, creek walls, and sampling to look for other contaminants. Increased testing, accuracy in the testing by using a second lab, regular contact with Northern Health, and also to check the tributary analysis for animal activity due that we're using Schwatlands as our main source right now. And when we do finally get the AOK to notify for lifting the notice, we will be sending this out to all the media, newspaper, radio, posting on the website, social media, sharing it on the recreation page, signage down at the Civic Center. Also, one good thing that has come of this is that we have more people signed up for our emergency alert system. We've gained, I believe it's 400 more people. And I would encourage more people to sign up to this alert system so that if there was anything in the future, whether it be a tsunami or a boil water advisory, that they would be notified through this alert system. We are willing to stay around after the meeting to have any questions answered. I would definitely recommend that I think everyone in the crowd already received their boil water information, the frequently asked questions. If you have any other concerns, anyone in the public that's watching on TV, if they have any questions, feel free to contact City Hall, and we would be glad to answer any questions for you. And that's about all I have to say for that. And just to further add, if there is anybody that would like to present something at the next meeting, please talk to Antonio who will set it up for our next meeting, which is a committee of the whole meeting. And we definitely would love to work with the community to work through this so that in the future, if we ever to have anything like this again, that we can work together with people to try and make it a better situation next time. Now, hopefully we get a $30 million grant and this never becomes an issue again. That being said, this is an issue that happens from time to time all across this country, and I feel that we are very fortunate that at least we still have water coming through our taps. Councillor Adie.
Yeah, I just like to comment that you know, I was brand new to all this, and I would not have wished this to be the first big deal that I had to deal with. And in going out and talking to people, I've heard a number of the same concerns often, and I think several of them are dealt with quite effectively in the frequently asked questions. So I won't go there, but I do want to make sure that people understand, first of all, that those concerns have been heard, and second of all, that we're hoping that this is, you know, that we're closer to the end than we are to the beginning at this point. But that when we are done with all this and have a chance to reflect on it, that we can put together a sort of a contingency plan for any kind of future occurrences that are similar to this, in such a way as we can address some of those very legitimate concerns that people have had around supplying for the most vulnerable in our community, around the various other issues in terms of testing and testing procedures and all that. So I would be very compelled to push for that once we're done with that. But I do want people to know that the concerns have been heard.
Councillor Cunningham.
Okay, just a couple things. First, on what Councillor Addy said, I'd like to recommend to staff that they do an after-action report on any actions that can be taken in the future to identify and improve any of this that's happened, so that when similar situations arise, that we've got somewhat of a plan in place to address some of these issues that have popped up. One of the other things that I was walking around town today, and one of the conversations that kept coming up is, why didn't we build the water treatment plant first? Well, that would have been counterproductive if you build a real nice water treatment plant and then the 100-year-old dam or 100-year-old pipe collapses, and then now you've got this beautiful water treatment plant with no water to come to it. And the sequence that we're doing it in has to be done this way, so that at the end of the day, it's a continuation. The dam supplies the pipe supplies the filtration system, and everyone gets clean water. And you know, it's just the way it has to be done. It's step 1, step 2, step 3. And you know, that's the way our engineering department's doing it. That's the way it was recommended by experts. And you know, the city hasn't had the money, but we've been really lucky with our staff finding grants for it and that. And through legacy and other taxes that have new taxes we've got, we're able to come up with the 1/3 part of it. So, you know, it's a situation that no one wanted, especially over Christmas. That's why the delay in testing and things like this. There's a lot of pieces in this puzzle that just didn't work out because of the timing. You know, you send a sample to a lab at Christmas time and somebody's home eating turkey and doesn't particularly care about that sample and that. So that said, one other thing I'd like to bring to people's attention is I'd like the city to possibly send a letter to the Department of Highways in concern to the intersection at Smithers and Highway 16. We have a convenience store there. Late at night, you have the old Anchor Inn that's now low-cost housing. We're putting down some more low-cost housing, and you have Transition House. People are walking along the highway on the right side and then crossing at that intersection, and it's a poorly lit intersection. I almost hit somebody the other night dressed all in black. And you know, even in our lit intersections, it's a difficult situation, but that's actually a highway. Even though it's 50, most people are doing 60 or 70, and I think it's just an accident waiting to happen. you know, I don't know how the highway's gonna address it because it's not our intersection, it's Department of Highways, but I can see with the influx of people moving into the other side of the road and people crossing there that it's gonna be a problem. Thank you.
Just to add to that, maybe, I don't know if staff knows, or if we can maybe make an inquiry to the Ministry of Highways while doing this, is that the upgrades to the lights that were supposed to happen, I'm just wondering if there's been an update, or because as last we had heard it was supposed to happen in the fall, and we haven't seen anything happen yet, so.
We did ask just before Christmas, actually, and they indicated that they were having difficulties securing, I think, contractors to be able to come in, or it had something to do about obtaining parts. So there was a delay that has caused them not to actually be here and do what they said that they would. But now we're into the new year. We definitely will give them a shout and see what the timeline is.
Councillor Vandawa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. About the water, I'm wondering like if staff is in a position to discuss like how last our results are coming and how close are we are getting to, like people are asking like when that be lifted, like
Yeah, we have received one clear sample, so we're optimistic that we will receive some more clear samples. The samples have been getting better and better. Where the Northern Health will determine when they're comfortable that there's enough clear samples that they will remove the boil water order. But that's their call. But I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. We'll know tomorrow whether or not we get another clear sample, and we're working closely with Northern Health. Obviously, the community would like to get off the boil water notice. Maybe onto an advisory or have it removed altogether. But they're obviously the people who are charged with regulating us as water purveyors, and we have to follow what their best judgment is in this case.
okay,
But it's improving, and I'm optimistic.
One thing I'd like to add to this too is I feel that if anybody wants to direct some of their frustrations to somebody, I think that it would be nice if they directed them towards maybe provincial and federal MLA and MPs to maybe help us with this. I feel that you know, we've done our part as far as planning for this and getting a third and final phase done. But the reality is that this project is a $30 million project, and our budget every year is only $35 million. So if we have to pay for this all on our own, this will be a long-term project. There is no way the city can afford to do this on their own. So we wish that the public would help us in this situation and write as many letters or emails or talk to your federal and provincial representatives to put some pressure on them to help us through the situation. I do feel that, you know, obviously with social media, sometimes people choose to say things that are maybe not correct information, and I do want to say that for the amount of grief that probably some of our staff members have taken, a lot of these staff members have been vital in making these grant applications happen over the last couple of years and getting this water project off the ground. Without those staff in place, we would not be where we are either. With the support of the council that has been here for the last 4 years, and with the addition of a couple new people here, we hope to keep on moving forward and making this water plant come to fruition. But we all would appreciate as much help as we can get from you guys. So rather than, the funny thing is I mean, anyone who watched social media over the last month here has seen the mudslinging go back and forth between numerous people. Everyone's got their opinions, but the reality is in 1 month I have received one email to my city account that asked me or anything to do with this water. I have not received one phone call on this issue. So if you want to help, then you need to talk to federal and provincial representatives and help us with this problem. This is not something that Facebook will solve for us. Is there anybody else that has anything to say? Council Reid?
I just wanted to thank staff for the resilience and all of the hard work that they've done so far. It's fairly easy for someone outside looking in, especially some of the more active Facebook trolls, we'll call them, that are perhaps have just moved here or are not even from here, and they're here quick to criticize. And I think that, you know, the engineers are the professionals, and that we simply collect the information from them, and that there's a reason, like Barry had stated, that there's phase 1, 2, and 3, that we have to do this in a certain sequence. We can't just magically create this $30 million water treatment plant and then have a risk of there not being water in the first place. So that's how you waste $30 million when there's no water left to treat. So I just wanted to, once again, thank staff, and that just for those that maybe are watching at home and are active keyboard warriors and quick to criticize. If you have concerns and questions, like Wade had mentioned, that it's definitely worthwhile to seek out our strategic partnerships in the federal government, and we have done so. But for us to make our case, it would definitely be beneficial for the citizens to reach out as well. So thank you.
Councillor Cunningham.
Just one quick thing. I was emailed by one of our residents up on Sloan, and over Christmas there was an unfortunate accident where a van came around the corner too fast. The driver evidently shouldn't have been behind the wheel, went through a small barrier up onto their lawn and hit 3 vehicles. And I would like to get our engineering staff to take a look at that corner and see if there's something we could put like we have at Frederick and 7th or something like that, because this isn't the first time it's happened, evidently. And it's, you know, I know we have a lot of different areas, but I went up there and looked, and, you know, you come around that corner fast, it's covered in gravel from the snow and ice and that, but it's also you're on a long straight stretch for a while, and it's a blind corner. So if there's any way we can put a couple of cement portable barriers there or something to help them out, it would be probably nice.
I'll just add to that too. I've actually talked to that same person. They've actually had 4 vehicles in their yard over the period of 4 years since they purchased the house. So you know, as I talked to them, they, you know, I explained, obviously this is a challenging town. We have a lot of hills, we have a lot of corners. You know, there's numerous places in town that are a problem, but obviously that is one that may require, you know, whether it is a couple barricades or something. So it would be nice if engineering staff could maybe have a look at that corner.
Yeah, we're in the process of putting up some Jersey barriers there,
Perfect.
and they should go to paid parking then.
Councillor Adie.
Just one more thing, just, you know, I appreciate the diversity of opinion that's been expressed on social media, but I don't think that we should be sending necessarily the message that that doesn't have its own rather crude value as well in terms of bringing the issues forward. So I think we always need to remain receptive to what those opinions are and go from there. So
Agreed. I just feel that sometimes, you know, if people really truly want to reach out to council, we are all accessible through email and phone numbers. And like I said, 1 email and 0 phone calls in a month shows me that there is people that, you know, it's easier to type it on a computer really fast and vent their frustrations. That being said, when there's more credible sources, you know, whether it be a newspaper article rather than a post on What the F Prince Rupert, I feel that you know, there's difference in opinions based on the different places it's posted to. So, you know, I have read every comment because I do feel that there is value to them, some also. So agreed. Anybody else? I entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Councillor Adie, seconded by Councillor Cunningham. All those in favor? Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.